Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into something super important for anyone who's ever had a business idea: how you take that amazing concept and turn it into an actual, concrete plan for success. Let's get right into it. I think it's a thought that crosses a lot of our minds. You see a problem that needs solving, or maybe you're just ready for a change. And that little voice pops up: hey, I could do this myself. I could be my own boss. And it's such an exciting thought, right? All that freedom and potential. And right after that spark of excitement, this thought usually follows. It just seems so straightforward. You have a great idea, you explain it, and you get started. But as you're about to see, getting from that idea to a real thriving company has a few more steps involved. And that's where this comes in. Now, I want you to stop thinking of a business plan as some kind of boring homework assignment. Instead, think of it as the blueprint for the house you're about to build. It's the essential framework, the master plan for your entire company. So let's break it down. What is a business plan really? Well, at its core, it's the story of your business. It's a document that lays everything out. Here's what the business is, here's what we're going to do, and super importantly, here's how much money we'll need and exactly how we're going to spend it. And here's what's so cool about it. It serves two purposes at once. For you, the founder, it's your personal roadmap. It helps you straighten out your own thoughts and keeps you pointed in the right direction. But for everyone else, like investors or banks, it's a proposal. It's your big chance to convince them that your idea is solid and worth their money. Generally, a really solid business plan is built around these 6 core parts. You've got the executive summary, which is kind of your whole pitch in a nutshell, all the way down to the nitty-gritty financial analysis. Each piece builds on the last to paint a full picture. We're going to zoom in on a couple of the most important ones. Okay, first up is the executive summary. This is your elevator pitch, but on paper. It has to be short, sharp, and powerful. We're talking 2 pages max. The whole point is for someone to read it and, in just a few minutes, totally get what you're doing and why it's going to be a huge success. All right, next we have to talk about what's often the toughest part of this whole process. And honestly, it might be the most important. Really understanding the market you're about to jump into. See, it's one thing to have a fantastic product, but it's another to understand the world it's going to live in. Your business doesn't exist in a vacuum. You've got to dig in and investigate all these different variables to figure out if people actually need what you're selling and where you fit in with the competition. And this slide, this really shows you how deep you need to go. You're looking at what are called socioeconomic factors, things like social class, income levels, even the average number of kids in a family. The answers to these questions shape everything from how you design your product to how you advertise it. One of those key factors you'll hear a lot about is GDP per capita. Now, it sounds really technical, I know, but all it is a way to measure the average economic health of the people in a certain area. Just think of it as a quick snapshot of how much spending power your potential customers have. And to put that into perspective, you could be looking at a market where the annual GDP per capita is super low, like $500, or one where it's really high, maybe $35,000 or even more. And here's why that matters. If you're selling to that first market, you're probably thinking about a low-cost product you can sell a lot of. If you're selling to the second, maybe a premium luxury good is the right move. See, that one number can change your entire strategy. Okay, now for the part everybody, especially your potential funders, is waiting for. Let's talk about money. This is the financial foundation of your entire plan. And let's be totally clear about this. For anyone who's thinking about putting money into your business, this section is everything. This is where you go from big ideas to hard numbers. You're forecasting your sales, your cash flow, your profits. It's the part where your dream has to prove it can actually make money. So who are these investors we keep talking about? Well, simply put, they're people or companies that give you the money, the capital, you need to get going. But it's not a gift, right? They're investing because they fully expect your business to do well and for them to get more money back than they put in. And the way they measure that success is with a little something called return on investment, or ROI. It's really simple, but it's the metric that matters most to them. It's the number that tells them exactly how much profit they made. It's basically the final score on their investment. Let's make this crystal clear. Say an investor gives you $1,000 to help you get started. A year goes by, business is good, and you pay them back $1,500. That extra $500, that's it. That's their return on investment. That's the profit that made taking a risk on you Totally worth it. Okay, so you've done all the hard work. The research is done, the plan is written, maybe you even got the funding. Awesome. But now the real work starts. It's time to turn that beautiful plan into actual sales. Yeah, driving sales isn't something that just happens. It means you're out there actively working to sell more of your stuff. So, what's the plan? How are you going to get out there, grab people's attention, and convince them to buy from you? Well, here are two of the most common ways to do it. You could try to compete on price. Just make your product cheaper than everyone else's. That can definitely work, but it can also kill your profits. Or you could run a promotion, like a 2-for-1 special. That'll get a lot of buzz for sure, but you have to be careful it doesn't cost you too much in a long run. The right answer really depends on your specific business. Now, here's a little reality check. You might come up with what you think is the most brilliant sales plan ever, and you're going to hear this: that'll never fly. It's just a common way of saying, nope, that won't work, or the bosses will never go for that. Learning how to handle that kind of pushback is just part of the game. But after all this talk about planning, it's so important to remember this. A business plan is just a tool. It is not a magical guarantee of success. In fact, think about it. Some of the biggest, most successful companies in the world started with just a great idea and a ton of passion. The detailed plan came later, after they were already out there doing it. And that really brings us to our final big question for you to think about. There's a real balancing act here, right? Between planning things perfectly and just starting. So when is the plan good enough to take that leap? That's a question every single entrepreneur has to answer for themselves. Definitely something to chew on.